doing? It's really warm out here, and it's really nice. Quite surprised. I suppose spring is here again. The title of this is Healing the Past in Order for a Better Present. I'd had a conversation about, people being in certain situations and realizing that one party needs healing, or one party, hasn't healed. So when you find that things come up to be healed, you'll realize it will be reflected in another person, especially if you can't see it for yourself. You know when you need healing because things that have happened to you previously, if you still have an emotional reaction when you think about it or speak about it, you'll know that something there needs types of healing. And so in order to have a better present, there's a lot of things that we need to heal in ourselves in order to move forward. Because, in order to move forward, you've got to let go of some stuff. And this is that time. This is a very big period in time that this has to be done, because we're shedding a lot of what no longer serves us, and we're moving into a greater, more empowered space. So to enable that to happen, you're going to have things that trigger you to make you heal. Now, healing can sound like it's, everybody's hurt, everybody needs healing. But the reality of it is, situations that you went in, situations that you've been in from when you was younger, or relationships that you was in that you don't heal from. If you don't heal those things, you will pass them on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and that's the problem. You know what I mean? So if you can honestly look at yourself and say, this situation here harmed me, and I don't know how to get through it. I don't know how to let it go, because what we tend to do when we're hurt, instead of going through these things, we will put something on top of it, we'll block it. And I mean, when I say we block it with, whether it's food, whether it's sex, whether it's, we'll have escapisms. We'll have, alcohol, drugs, all these things to escape the feeling of the hurt that needs healing. But what that feeling is doing is saying, come on, let's address it so we can let it go and keep it moving. And you find that when you don't understand that that's what it is, you hold on to these things and then you just put them down, you suppress them. And I think across the board, we all do that to a certain extent, because it's easier not to deal with something that you felt that was so painful. So in actuality, just say, for instance, this is one of the most common things. You in a relationship and you get hurt by the other person, whether they're cheating, they're lying, or whatever the case may be. And that hurts you to your core. But yet you separate from that person and you move on, but you're still hurt. But you move on to the next person and you're already guarded. You're already feeling emotionally threatened. You're already feeling like, anything that reminds you remotely of what you've been through, you shut down. Whether, like I said, you will mask those things with drugs, alcohol, sex, food. You've already got a stance set up. So this continues on until you figure out that energy that you had to deal with previously needs to be worked through you emotionally in order for you to let it go. Because when you don't do those things, all it does is hurt you continuously. And you can look at some people that are older and you can see what they've not let go of, because they will have some bitterness. They will hold bitterness in their spirit. And, and I can attest to that, because years ago, when I was married, I went through a lot of emotional turmoil, and it was hard. And I remember going in England, my sister took me to see this lady, and she was like, "You're bitter. And look at you, you're not even dressing right." I mean, I just wear T-shirts and jogging pants, and that's all I'd wear. I wouldn't have no regards to what I looked like or anything. But I didn't realize it's because I was emotionally hurt and drained, and I was bitter at the situation that I had to deal with. But I wouldn't speak about it verbally, but this was all internal stuff that was going on. And this is the stuff that we carry. But now I can think about that whole situation and have no emotional attachment to it because I've healed it. I've let it go. I've thanked them for their part in my world, and I've released it because what it's done is made me stronger. But, you know, many people don't have that opportunity to think that way or process things in that light in order to let go of things. So I'm saying healing is a big thing in our life, that if you don't recognize that you have things that need to be healed, you will continue to hurt yourself and hurt others in the process because you're not even understanding what it is that you're still holding on to, or the trauma that you've held on to for so long is still having an effect in your present day. What it does, it has an influence on your decision making, on any circumstances you find yourself in, even when something is really good for you and that is like perfect timing, everything is lined up. If you're still holding on to traumas and hurts and pains, you're going to be influenced to move through that space with that energy that you've held on to. And that was and that's a hard thing to deal with. So, like I said, acknowledging that you have things that you need to heal, we all do, from one level to the next. Acknowledging that you have things to heal and work through that energy instead of blocking it or suppressing it. Because suppression, all it does is sit there until some more adds onto it, and like what they say, pressure bust a pipe. So, you know, anything that you need to do, you need to work through it. And sometimes you need to talk to somebody to work through it because it's not easy. It's not easy dealing with certain traumas and certain energies that you don't understand. You know you've been hurt, and you know that these things have been inbred in you. It's almost like you still got knives or you still got wounds sitting in your body that you need to pull out. And I'm just saying that in this day and time, you're going to feel it even more if you don't recognize that these are the things that you need to do. And this is all of us. All of us need healing. And what it does is liberates you. It liberates you in order to allow new energy, newness to come into your world. Like I said, everybody's been through stuff. Nobody's exempt. You know what I mean? Because that's part of life. It's part of the lessons. But the lesson is you don't hold it, you release it. We're never taught that. So, but anyway, it's not going to be a long one. And I just hope that people understand that healing is not just like a new age thing. It is everybody that needs it. I remember my father, you know, he was, I don't want to say he was not an angry man, but he had something that he held on to. And that's what made his tick go, you know. When you hold an energy that's not conducive to your life force, it dims your space. And so you find a lot of people end up passing and, you know, having illness because of the things that they hold on to. Even in the Elders, it talks about holding on to things from your past that no longer serve you, and it eats you out as a sickness, you know. So we have to be prepared and understand that this is what it does. Whether you know or do or not, it is energy. Energies that we think about and we feel, and not understanding that process. So in order for that to be let go of, you have to work through those things so you can release it. And understanding that even though you did get hurt in that space, it's not something that's supposed to stay with you for life. It's something that you have to work through, process, and let go of so you can heal and experience new things. Because there's nothing like trying to live in a world where you're operating from your past thoughts or operating from old energy. You can't experience a true present if you're still holding on to all the harmful things that's been done to you. You can't. It's impossible. So this space of healing, everybody has to do it. From any things that happened in their childhood. You know, you can't. You can look at your parents and think, you know, I mean, I went through this because of you, but look at where you are now. The choices that you've made is where you are right now. So you can say, yeah, that's what happened to me, but that's what is happening to me right now is the choices that I've made. But if you're still making choices based off of the person you was back then, you're always going to come up against obstruction because you've not released that old energy that needs to be recorded. Anyway, I'm not going to keep going on, but seriously, this is one big thing that we really need in all of our communities. We need healing. We need a space that we can talk about what is going on with us and how we can let it go and how we can move through that space to release it and still understand it was a part of what we had to go through. It was a part of our journey. It was a part of our being different. You know, we all need it. So again, I'm not going to sit there again. Yeah, I'm not going to keep harping on too much, but healing is a big thing. Okay, don't look at it like it's just something that certain folks do. No, everybody needs it from one facet or not, whether it's your healing of a thought process, a belief that you've had that you've held on to for so long to think that this is how it's supposed to be, and you've accepted not feeling good in yourself because you believe this is what you're meant to do. Those things need healing so you can move through it and let it go. Okay, so yeah. So if you're having a hard time processing that, find somebody that you can talk to. Find somebody that can sit and listen to you, and you just be honest with yourself and your emotions and really speak about how you're truly feeling. Not from a space of that you're wanting, you just saying what they want to hear. No, speak from your soul. What is it that you feel that I feel abandoned, I feel ashamed of what I went through. You know, guilt is a heavy load that needs to be healed. Abandonment is a heavy load that needs to be healed. But if you don't acknowledge that you went through these things, you will always hurt, and you will always end up hurting somebody else because you continuously hurt. As I said, hurt people. And it's not because they want to, it's because they don't know any other way to be, because they've allowed this hurt to control them for so long. So, like I say, we all need healing, and I just pray that we all find the space and the time to work through those things so we can be a better person, better spirited self, a lighter spirited self, to enjoy life more so than to hold on to the past stuff that's been that you're lugging along like an anchor. Okay, so I'm gonna let this go now, and hopefully the message was heard, and I love you all again. And that's another thing, healing automatically brings self-love, because once you love yourself, there's certain things that you know that doesn't serve your spirit. So loving yourself will help in that process too. So again, all right, but much love to all, and you have a wonderful day. Take care.